Hi, my name is Mike Johnson. I've had the privilege to review hundreds of resumes over the past couple months, and I wanted to put together a tool that I wish I had to help you make your resume stronger and represent you even better. So I'm going to help you with 7 simple steps to make a resume that roars. What does ROAR stand for? It's results oriented and relevant. Make that resume results oriented and relevant. So I have 7 simple steps, so let's get started. Step 1. Review your resume. There's no sense starting from scratch. Let's take the resume that you already have, grab a couple color pens, maybe highlighters, and let's start the review process. I want you to go through the review process and I want you to ask yourself the question, does this statement come closer to describing you something that I was told to do, something that was in my job description, maybe my position description, or does it tell you something that you actually accomplished? Things that you actually accomplished are the things you want to start to highlight because those are the things we're going to want to keep. Step 2, remove task-oriented statements. All of those statements that talk about job description, things you were told to do, they're not terribly valuable. As someone that's reviewing a resume, when you see a job history that's full of those, you start to question maybe this person just did the minimum. Maybe this person didn't go above and beyond. Maybe this person wasn't recognized for anything great. Those are the types of questions you start to ask yourself because when someone just lists their duties, lists their responsibilities, you don't get much value out of that. Listing your responsibilities is not very good because really responsibilities, you need that accountability. You need to show that you accomplished it, that you followed through. That's the valuable stuff. And that's when we start to get into the results-oriented statements. So I always tell people, don't tell me what you do, tell me what you did. And so those task-oriented statements are what you do. They're your day-to-day, the mundane, the boring. They're the requirements of the job. What you did are those marks that you've left on the job, those things that you've accomplished, you've improved. Those are the things that we want to highlight. So step 3, add result-oriented statements and accomplishments. So we don't have to always add more. Maybe you got a couple in there, but I think that anyone can add more of those. So result-oriented statements, what are those like? Maybe you sold more products than anybody else on your shift. Maybe you're hitting certain level of your, like you have a metric. Maybe you're supposed to, make 100 phone calls, receive 100 items, something of that nature, and you're always receiving 150. So there's a certain percentage that you're above and beyond. Something you want to highlight. That is an accomplishment. You have more repeat customers than anybody else. Maybe you were patted on the back for an outstanding customer service. Maybe you got an award, recognition, things of that nature. That is results oriented. You have a customer satisfaction rate, maybe, if that's something you can quantify. Notice that all of these things have quantified things. They're great. You want to highlight those things. The funny part is a result-oriented statement is not something like, I have great customer service skills. I can't tell you how annoying it is to see that in a resume because it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm an astronaut. You can't self-declare yourself. You have to give evidence. So you can say, I have excellent customer service skills because I was recognized by my supervisor. Okay, then there's some proof. And when you're doing a resume, that's another mistake, that self-declared skill set, you need to prove it. Put at least one statement on how you did achieve that skill set. I think that'll help move your resume further. So let's move on. Next step, reformat and reread. Out of all the resumes I've reviewed, I've seen many, many formats. 1-page resumes, 4-page resumes, bullets, third person, first person. Honestly, I don't care what kind. I think that as long as it's consistent, so you want to make sure your formatting is consistent. Your bullets are the same. You don't have star bullets, then dot bullets, then dash bullets. You don't want anything too crazy. And you want to reread your resume. You want to continue to reread, reread, reread. I can't tell you that enough. Every time you reread, you're going to find more things, and you want to make sure that it flows. No matter what formatting you pick, you want to make sure it flows. You want fonts that appropriate, are easy to read on the eye, nothing too crazy, and you want to read it and make sure it flows. Notice I said that several times. It's important that it's easy to read. No acronyms, things of that nature. Check resume for formatting and spelling errors. So now that we reformatted your resume, you want to make sure that there's no typos and no spelling errors. I can tell you there's no better way to tell a new manager, a hiring manager, I don't want this job, than to have typos and spelling errors. Not to say if you have 1 or 2, you're not going to get a job, but I'm telling you, those things, I'm very quick to start circling them. And trust me, I don't have great grammar or spelling. So if I'm catching them, then it must be an issue. And so this resume is your one opportunity to represent yourself to a hiring manager, telling them, I'm the best for this job. And you need to make sure that your resume is 100% in order. So make sure that you check for all of those formatting and spelling errors. Have someone else review your resume. A spouse, friend, parent, current boss if you have a good relationship. I think all of those are great resources to review your resume for you so that you can have an objective view of how it reads, how does it flow, does it represent you well, are you using maybe some acronyms or a system name that no one else knows what that is? And that's another thing. You want to make sure you explain all of those in plain English so it's easy to read for a manager that might not be in your business. Have them read that. I don't recommend a peer as much. There might be a peer that you can trust, a coworker. I have not had the best of luck. I don't know. I really find it better to find a family member, mentor, or supervisor, personally. But that's up to you to decide. Honestly, the more people that review it, the more feedback you're going to get, the better it's going to be. And lastly, review your resume. Continue to review your resume over and over. Put it down, pick it up a week later, 2 weeks later, month later. I at least pick mine up on a monthly basis. Read the whole thing, make sure it flows, make sure everything makes sense. As I still go through my resume, I still find things that I'm like, wow, that doesn't tell you anything about, the job. Why did I even waste valuable print and space on my resume with that statement? Things of that nature. And so I continuously find, more grammatical type errors as far as I don't think this sentence flows right, things of that nature. The more you review and the higher level of review you're on, the more technical you can get and the more precise you can get. And it's going to make your resume even better. Always, if you can, tailor your resume to the specific job that you're applying for. Of course, if you can tailor your skill sets to that field or that position, it's always going to help. Not a requirement, but it is a pro. So I've gone over the 7 simple steps to make your resume roar, results-oriented and relevant. I think that if you follow any of these 7 steps, you're going to improve your resume. I hope that you follow all 7. I hope that it helps you to get a better resume. It puts more of your results and your great things you're doing on paper to represent yourself so that you can get an interview and you can get those promotions, because I know you are the best person. You just need to represent that on paper. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that this helps you out. Take care.